Huh? No. Small season.
Session is not being recorded, Amina.
Now,
Now it's on. Safia,
yes, ma'am.
did you switch on? Yeah. Okay. Now more about friction. What have we learned about friction? Friction always slow down moving object, opposes motion. Friction is created whenever two touching objects move over each other. We have already done this. Okay. Now friction also occurs when things move through air. We are going to do this. This is called air resistance or drag. Okay. Now what, there is a maximum value of frictional force which depends on. Now what are the factors on which frictional force depends? It depends on the force pushing the two surfaces together and the state of surfaces in contact, means the roughness of the surfaces in contact. So just write down factors on which frictional force depends. Okay, and I'll write it. Wait. Factors on which frictional force depend. First one is this, and second one is this. Factors on which the frictional force depends. Okay? Just write down the topic. Factors on which the frictional force depends are, first one, the force pushing the two surfaces together and the state of the surfaces in contact. Means if you are pushing the two surfaces harder, the friction will be more. And two surfaces means roughness. So you can write down the roughness of the surfaces. More is the roughness of the surface, more will be the friction. And more harder you push the two surfaces together, more will be the friction. So 2 points, the factors on which frictional force depend are, please make notes of these points because these are the main important points that you have to remember. Questions are asked based on these only. Like what are the factors, how can you increase, how can you decrease friction, how friction is harmful as well as useful. Okay, so you have to mention the points, 4 points why friction is harmful, 4 points why friction is useful. So in this way, in the end you will write that this way we can say that friction is useful as well as harmful at some times. Friction cannot be useless, huh? So it is important also and it is sometimes harmful also. So that is the most commonly asked question about friction. So you should know that. Okay, should I move to the next slide now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, which of the following would not help you move a heavy object across a concrete floor? Would not help. Now tell me.
Water.
Heavy object across a concrete floor, which of the
No,
following
it is a
will
concrete.
not help?
Steel rods. Steel rods. Steel rods.
Anything?
No, it is a
Foam
concrete
rubber.
floor
And
mean.
foam rubber. And
Foam
foam rubber.
Yes, it
Ma'am,
is.
what does concrete mean?
Concrete means the floor is made up of concrete, na hard floor, rough floor.
Okay. Water.
Water will help you out, na?
Okay.
Heavy object.
Foam
These are
rubber, ma'am.
all these objects. See, whatever object reduce friction will help you in moving it, right? The
Okay.
object which increase friction, so foam rubber should be
Foam
the
rubber.
answer.
Foam
Yes,
rubber.
foam rubber. Okay. Name 3 common items you might use.
Water, ball bearing, and oil.
These are ways to reduce friction, Safia. Ways to increase friction is sand, sandpaper, okay, making grooves in
Okay,
the
हाँ.
on the surface, making the surface rough. That will increase the friction. So that you have to remember. Making the surface smooth will decrease the friction. Okay. Now coming to air resistance. See, now as I told you, air resistance is a type of friction which acts in air.
May
So
I
when
write it down?
no, don't write now. I have too many slides on air resistance.
Ma'am,
I'll tell you.
surface increases, na? If you
Ha.
increase,
So as I told you, in friction also you have written na, if more is the surface area, more is the friction. Same way here also, if more is the surface of the solid, more will be the air resistance acting on it, because more air molecules will
Yeah.
rub with the surface of the object, and you will and the object will face air resistance, means against the motion. Now here you can see this person, he's having a parachute on his back. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
he's falling down from a plane. So what forces are acting on it? You can see always
Air resistance.
air resistance will be upwards. Why? Because motion is downwards. So gravity or the weight of the object is acting downwards, and air resistance is upwards. So these are the two forces acting on it. And because the object is falling downwards, that means force of gravity is more than air resistance. Okay. Now what happens when the parachute opens? When the parachute opens, you know that the surface area of parachute increases. I'll show you. You can see over here, when the parachute opens, the surface area of the parachute increases. See, this much is more. So air resistance increase. When air resistance is greater, it becomes greater, then it somewhere it balances the force of gravity. Means weight gets balanced by the air resistance force. And then at that time, you know, balanced forces we have done. When the forces are balanced, the object will move with constant velocity or stop. So here other forces are also there. So it will move slowly and at the same height. Okay. So this moves slowly and at the same height. So you can say that because of the air resistance, the person falls slowly. Whereas when the parachute was not there, when the parachute was not there, he was falling with higher velocity, because air resistance was less than the weight of the object. Is it clear? When the object falls, it will fall with greater velocity. Greater velocity, you understand, na? Speed. So greater speed, because air resistance is less than the weight of the object, and when weight is more, object will start falling downwards. Okay, so you can see this way air resistance is acting. Circular hai. If the object is circular, air is around it. So air resistance is because all the molecules present around it. Here in this shape, air resistance is acting like this. And that is why in this case also, when the object's body is streamlined, air resistance is less. Okay. You can see over here, falling objects with greater surface area experience more air resistance. So that is why a leaf or a feather takes greater time to reach the ground, whereas a fruit will fall faster. Why? Because for this fruit, gravitational pull is more than the air resistance. Whereas you can see the surface area, you know, na, surface area means this whole area is called as surface area. Area, you know what is area, na? Area is what? Suppose a triangle is there. So you know this is a triangle. So this surface whole is called as area. So if you are taking a leaf like this, it has got greater area than a fruit. So greater area will have greater air resistance, and gravity so same bhi hoga to bhi greater air resistance. So that is why it falls slowly, because of gravity this object will fall with a greater speed. So when you drop a leaf and a stone, you will see that In air, in air, not in vacuum. Vacuum mein dono will take same time, because vacuum mein there is no air. Vacuum means, you know what is vacuum na? Vacuum means no air or no gas. Nothing is there, no medium. Vacuum means no medium. So when two objects, suppose this leaf and a ball falls in vacuum, both of them will reach at the same time, because their air resistance and gravity will be same in both the cases. But in air, what happens? Air resistance comes into action, and air resistance of greater surface area object will have greater air resistance, whereas small surface area will have small air resistance. You can see the red arrows. The red arrow's length of the arrow shows the magnitude of force. So more is air resistance in this case and less is air resistance in this case. So force of gravity, it will be more in this case, and here force of gravity is opposed by greater air resistance. So that is why this takes time to fall in air and this will take less time to fall. Okay, so this is the difference. Because of the surface area, air resistance is more. More is the surface area, more will be the air resistance. Okay, you can see this. Force, now write down. Air resistance is a force that slows down falling objects due to the atmosphere and surface area of the object. Okay, so more is the atmosphere, more is the air molecules, more will be the air resistance. Also, if more is the surface area, more will be the air resistance. So why do parachutes we use? We use parachutes to increase the surface area. So more is the surface area, more will be the air resistance, and air resistance then balances the weight of the object, and that is why this person falls slowly and reaches ground slowly. And if this parachute doesn't get open, he will fall directly on the ground with higher speed and he will get hurt. So here you can see the diagram. F, air resistance moving upwards, and F of gravity, means gravitational force or weight, you can see, is acting downwards. Both the arrows are equal. That means length, these forces are balanced. Air resistance and gravitational pull are balanced. Done? This one, this statement, what is air resistance? Everyone?
Forces that slow
Yes.
down falling objects
Due
due
to
to the atmosphere and surface area.
you know what is there in atmosphere? Gases are there, air molecules are there. So that is why also air resistance or drag is friction between, next paragraph, write down. It is a friction between moving object and the air it is moving through. Okay, it slows down vehicle and causes great fuel consumption. How to reduce air resistance? Same thing, streamlining. Shape of the object is streamlined. So that is why your cars are made up of this shape, streamlined shape. You can see air flows smoothly over the car, and here the shape is not smoothly, shape is not streamlined, so air does not flow smoothly over the vehicle. You know the jeeps and all, they move slowly because they move in those bumpy areas. The shape of the jeeps and all those vehicles are not streamlined. That is why they move slowly. Whereas all these cars, sedans, all these are shape of the cars are streamlined so that it is faster. The racing car, you just check this, the shape of the racing car. These are just sleek, made like this, so that the object shape is streamlined, so that the air resistance is less, friction is less. Okay. Since the car is moving on the road, there will be friction also and there will be air resistance also. Both opposing forces will be acting on it. Is it clear, everyone? Yes or no?
Yes.
So note it down the points.
Ma'am, wait.
Those who are in Tagore, see, for them it is basic because we have a chapter after this on force in Tagore also. Okay, so this will be will continue on this only. For Mandela, our chapter will end after the types of forces. Okay, for Tagore we have to continue on this chapter. Yes, like bullet train, correct, Sakle? You know the shape, na? All the speedy trains and all, just see the shapes of these speedy objects, speedy vehicles. Because their shapes are made streamlined so that to reduce the air resistance and friction. Okay, done this page?
Wait, ma'am.
So streamline means this type of shape, the shape the fish has, okay? This shape. Front se thin, in the middle thick, and then end se thin.
Ma'am, it's made streamlined to reduce air resistance and friction.
Air resistance and friction, because it is moving on ground, right? So there will be friction also, right? It is moving on ground, the car is moving on ground, so there will be friction also on the ground and between ground and tires, and there will be air resistance between the car and the air. Is it clear? So there will be air resistance as well as friction in case of a moving car. Is it clear?
Done, ma'am.
So more effect of
Only
friction.
vehicles are made streamlined.
Yeah, Amina?
Only vehicles are made streamlined.
Vehicles running on the road, whereas in any object falling in air, like parachute or any ball falling through the air, or any fruit falling through the tree, there will be only air resistance and weight acting on it. Is it clear? There won't be any friction there.
Ma'am, what about a plane?
Friction, plane is also in air, so there will be air resistance only. See, whenever two objects, solid objects are in contact, then there is friction. Okay, and when there is a contact between liquid and solid, and air and solid, there will be air resistance or drag.
So, ma'am, when it's between the water and the land, then?
It is drag. We call it in water, we call it drag, viscous drag also we say, and up thrust is also there in water, which is acting upwards. Okay, and suppose submarine is moving in water, you know, submarine moves underwater. In case of submarine, you have, see how many forces are there on submarine. I'll draw it. Suppose this is a submarine in water, shape I'm making like this, it is like this only. This is water.
Ma'am, it will have upthrust force, right?
So submarine will have upthrust in this direction and weight in this direction, right? Means upthrust upwards ho gaya, weight niche ki taraf ho gaya. Since it is moving in this direction, submarine is moving in this direction because of engine power. So applied force is in this direction. So there will be a drag in this direction. Okay, drag is because of water and friction between water and submarine. Okay, same way like aeroplane is there in air. So there is, if aeroplane is moving in this direction, you have wings like this. If aeroplane is moving in this direction, so what happens? Air resistance will be in this direction. Okay, there will be weight in this direction, there will be lift in this direction. Okay, and there will be thrust, engine thrust, means force applied by the engine in this direction. Okay, so this way 4 forces will be acting on aeroplane. Aeroplane forces I have shown you earlier also. I've shown you aeroplane. You have drawn
Yes,
aeroplane
ma'am.
forces acting on
And
aeroplane.
you've shown us object in water also.
So the same, these forces, you have to remember what are the forces. Whenever they ask what are the forces acting on it, draw a free body diagram. So you have to draw the forces with arrows and all. Okay, see, you can see a school bus or a racing car be affected less by air resistance. Why? Because they have streamlined shape. Racing car speed is more. Okay, so just write this sentence: air resistance depends on the size, shape and speed of the object. Okay, shape I already told you. If this shape is streamlined, um, there will be less air resistance. Speed is more will be the air resistance. Okay, so air resistance depends on the size, shape and speed of the object.
What to write this?
Yes, only one line. Air resistance depends on the size, shape and speed of the object. You have written what is air resistance. Now what are the factors which affect air resistance are these: size, shape and speed. Okay, you can see
Ma'am,
yeah,
do it
size,
little backward now.
just write down size, shape and speed of the object. Okay, air resistance depends on size, shape and speed of the object. Now how does it depend? See, this is a shape, streamlined shape. Okay, you can see if the speed is less, air resistance will be less. If the speed is more, air resistance will be more. So write down the next statement. How does it depend on shape? I told you streamlined shape will reduce the air resistance. Write down one point. If the shape of the object is streamlined, air resistance is less.
Ma'am, can you repeat?
If the shape of the object is streamlined, air resistance is
Which we have to write, ma'am?
Yeah.
I'm writing in short form. You just write the statement. If the shape,
Will it depend on size, ma'am?
if the shape of the object is streamlined, air resistance is less.
How does size depend?
Size means more is the size, more will be the air. Bigger size, bigger air resistance. Okay. And the second one is more is the speed, more will be air
Ma'am,
resistance.
if the shape of the object is streamlined, then
Air resistance is less, and more is the speed of the object, more will be the, you can see the diagram, small speed, small air resistance, larger speed, large air resistance. So more is the speed of the object, more will be the air
this is
resistance.
the first point. Second point, is more. Ma'am, have to write, copy that.
Yes, I'm writing now. Second one I have written in full statement. First one, write the statement of
Ma'am.
if the shape of the object is streamlined, air resistance is less. Okay, if it is not streamlined, air resistance will be more. Yeah, Munib, what did you ask?
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me, ma'am? I can't hear anyone.
You cannot hear.
Ma'am.
Just a moment, I'll write you in chat.
Ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Done this slide, everyone?
Yes.
Now
Ma'am,
you
can
can
you
see.
hear me now?
I can hear you. I was earlier also I could hear you. Now you can hear me, Muni.
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Yeah. So did you write the previous slide? More, if the shape is streamlined, air resistance is less. More is the speed of the object, more will be the air resistance. Okay. This,
Yes, ma'am.
these 2 points you have to write. Now you can see over here the this increases the surface area. Also, third point is more is the surface area. You can write more is the surface area, more will be the air resistance. Okay. So third point, more is the surface area. This is there in friction also, okay? Streamline and surface area. More is the surface area, more will be the. That is why the shapes are streamlined. Actually, first ka hi part hai. More is the surface area, more will be the air resistance. So you can see the the parachute opens up to increase the surface area. So now when the surface area is more, you can see the red arrow, greater air resistance and gravitational pull to same hi rahega because your weight is constant. So on earth, so weight becomes equal to the air resistance, and that is why this person moves down slowly when the parachute opens up. So 3 points. Basically, 2 points are there. First point उनका ही है 3 point, but I have just made it clear by writing it separately. Surface area. So that is why streamline में surface area थोड़ा सा reduce हो जाता है front में. So that is why air resistance decrease करने के लिए shape streamline. So where do we use the streamline bodies? Where you need speed, where you need less air resistance, and where you want more air resistance, you increase the surface area. Okay, you don't make the body streamline. Okay. Should I change now?
Yes, ma'am.
What do I supposed to write?
Yes, Amina.
You're supposed to write this.
Third point you have to write. First and second you have already written, na?
Yes.
Third you have to write more is the surface area, more is the more will be the air resistance. Now you can see one more example. A ball is falling down freely. So this is your force diagram. The blue arrow will be the air resistance, force due to air resistance, and the down arrow is force due to gravity. So just write down this is your force diagram. So draw this diagram, a ball. Question is ball falling down. Sorry. I'm erasing it on previous one. This is ball falling freely, we say sometimes, or falling down in air. Okay, so the diagram, free body diagram of ball falling down, this you will draw like this, a ball like this, arrow like this. You will write air resistance moving upwards, acting upwards. So this is force of air resistance, and you can see equal weight or force of gravity you can write, or weight you can write. Force of gravity you write, or weight also you can write, that is also correct. Or weight of the ball acting downwards. Okay, so this is your diagram when you are drawing ball falling freely in air. So air resistance acting upwards against the motion is taking place downwards, which is force of gravity, because of force of gravity or
If
weight.
the motion will take place downwards and the air should be upward.
No, motion is taking place downwards because of force of gravity, because your weight is greater than air resistance. Okay? Now, as it moves down, your air resistance becomes equal. When air resistance becomes equal to force of gravity, so balance force हो जाता है and it falls with constant speed. तो वो अभी for you that is not required. That is called as terminal velocity. For now, you just remember two forces are acting. एक air resistance, एक force of gravity. Ball is moving downwards and air resistance is acting against the direction of motion.
Ma'am,
Hmm.
What is this diagram called? You said something free.
This is called as free body diagram or force diagram. Okay, हमने पहले भी किया है ना, how do we represent forces? So free body diagram or force diagram, or force diagram, like you drew for aeroplane and all na, table पे book रखा हुआ था for that, all those are called as free body or force diagram, because you cannot see force, so we draw it with the help of arrows and showing the arrow and the object, how forces are acting on it. Okay, so this is free body diagram for ball falling freely in air. So what are the forces acting on it? Air resistance and weight of the object. Is it clear, everyone? Munib, clear to you? Saklain, Ahmad, Eminem, fine?
Yes, ma'am.
So moving to the next slide.
Wait.
Now see, this is a diagram, a boat moving on it. Now you have to tell me what are the forces acting on it. Okay, this motion is taking place in front. This is the front side. Okay.
And then the backward will be air resistance.
First of all, tell me what is this force, this arrow?
Upthrust.
Upthrust.
Ma'am, can you show the previous slide, please?
Just a moment.
I just have to write one.
And the arrow downward will be gravitational force.
Yeah, but
Done? Don't write
Wait.
this terminal velocity. Yeah? That is not required for you. So don't write it. Whatever I tell you to write, that thing.
what is due to air resistance? You have to write.
So
And the arrow that is downward is gravitational force.
gravitational force, or you can say weight also, or force of gravity, anything. All things are same. Okay?
And ma'am,
Then the forward arrow is motion.
would be engine thrust.
Correct. This is your engine thrust.
And it's motion, right?
So that is why it is moving this direction, because engine is applying force.
And it can also be, like, if I write motion over there, then that
called as
should be
drag.
wrong.
This is called as drag, because in water there is a force, okay, which opposes the motion. So it is called as drag, and this one you can say air resistance. Is it clear?
Yes.
Air
Ma'am,
resistance.
ma'am, if I write near the engine thrust motion, then it will be wrong.
No, motion is not a force. Motion is movement. Okay, because of this force, this object is moving in this direction. Motion is taking place. Here what we are doing, we are just writing the name of the forces. Okay, so you don't write motion over
Ma'am,
there.
you have to draw the boat.
Because of the engine thrust. Yeah.
In any vehicle, it will be an engine thrust.
The forward motion is engine thrust only. Like aeroplane may be engine mein jo motion, engine is applying force. So that is called as engine thrust. Thrust means force. Force which is perpendicular. So that is thrust. Thrust is
Ma'am, you have
another
to draw the boat. No, no.
You can draw a boat like this. Draw a boat like this.
Okay.
Water lagaya yahan pe. Upthrust, and you can see upthrust and weight same hai. So that is why boat is floating. And it is moving in forward direction. So this is engine thrust. And because it is moving over water, so there will be a drag, viscous drag, water drag. And there will be air resistance also. Okay. So these are the forces acting on it. Is it clear? I have drawn a rough diagram over here. Should I erase everyone? So sometimes questions are asked like this also. Drawn figure and just label it. Okay, next one.
Ma'am, what if we draw a speedboat? That's fine.
Draw what?
A speedboat.
Anything you can draw. Speedboat or boat, just to show that it is a boat. Okay. If the forces on the object are balanced and if the object is stopped, what does it mean? What does it mean about the forces? Balance
force.
Balance means what about the forces? Equal hai, kya hai? What is it?
Equal.
Equal and
Equal.
opposite
Yes.
you have to say. So if the object is stopped, then the forces are equal and opposite.
This is
So that net force is 0. If the object is moving, then it will move at, you will write constant or same velocity. Okay?
What does
Right on these
constant
points.
velocity mean?
Yeah, if the forces are balanced and the object stopped, that means forces are equal and opposite. And if the object is still moving, and the forces are balanced, then it means that
ma'am, this is air resistance at this side.
constant velocity. Yeah.
This side would be air resistance, right?
Air में air resistance बनाओ opposite to the direction of motion. If the forces are unbalanced, the speed will change. The dash of motion
And
will
ma'am, what
change.
is down?
Shape of an object will change. What will change?
This is drag, and this is.
The
Now,
speed,
what is the down one? Gravitational pull.
the direction of motion can also change.
Ma'am, what is the down thing? Below the boat, the water.
Which slide you are talking?
The previous slide, ma'am.
Wait.
Below the boat, what is there?
This one?
Yeah.
Drag.
Yeah.
Drag.
No, this one.
This
I'll
one.
show you. Wait.
This one. This one is
No,
drag.
not this, ma'am.
This is air resistance.
Wait.
Okay.
1 second. This thingy. This one. Now, can you see?
No, I can't see.
The circle which is there, na? Purple color circle.
Achha, this one is weight, na? Force of gravity.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was asking.
Okay. So I'm moving to the next one now. So
So
this
we have to
we
write all these.
don't write, just remember, if the object stop, then means forces are acting. Don't write the bottom one, it's okay. If the forces are unbalanced, you know that the object, the speed will change and the direction of motion can also be changed. Shape of the object will not change. Shape of object can also change. Yeah, this is...
textbook about friction, like there.
Yes, Amina, it's not clear.
Textbook, the friction part is there.
Textbook, what is there?
The friction.
Yes, friction is there in textbook. It is there. Go through it. I told you to read the textbook also. It is there on page number, unbalanced balance forces. Friction is there on page number 128. Everything is there. Ways to reduce friction in water, what happens, sinking, everything is there in this. Whatever we have done in class, it is there. Okay. So if you're not able to do the answers, I will discuss answer also maybe in the next class. Friction can be useful, everything is there in the book. So that's why I keep on telling you, just read the textbook. We can discuss answer later. Okay. Maybe in the next class, I'll discuss the answer, the whole chapter. For Mandela, this chapter is over. Just little bit of force diagram and all these things should be known. You can see, how will you write? What are the forces acting on it? Can you tell me?
Wait.
This is forward force or thrust, you can say. Engine thrust also you can say, moving forward. What is this force?
Back. Ma'am, this is
Air resistance.
Air resistance. And here also one force will be there.
Gravitation. Frictional force. Frictional force. Frictional force.
यहाँ पे there will be frictional force. यहाँ पे what is it? Downwards?
Wait, ma'am.
Gravity.
Frictional force.
Ma'am, wait, ma'am.
Force of gravity. Here it is air resistance.
Here this side is engine thrust.
Yes. Or thrust also if you write.
And up will
Upthrust, ma'am. Upthrust.
Actually, upthrust is not there here. It is air resistance acting in all these direction. Na? So air resistance. Is it clear?
Ma'am, where is drag then?
Actually, they have written now for this, they have shown friction, and for this, they have shown air resistance. Okay, because it is jumping also in air. Is it clear? So if they have shown arrow like this, I'll just do it again, because we are not showing it over here. So friction opposes the motion. So friction is this. This is your weight. This is your air resistance, because in air, and this is your engine thrust. Okay. Here also you know what is it. We have done. इसमें ये दोनों force की जरूरत नहीं है. Don't do it equally है. So you have this air resistance, and this is weight. Is it clear? No need to draw because we have done it already. You can see water में, this also we have done. Water में क्या होता है? Water में upthrust, weight. Thrust means this is applying a force to move forward. Engine रहता है तो engine thrust, and this fish is applying force, so applied force or thrust, and friction की जगह पे you write drag. Okay, water में we don't say friction, we say it drag. So अगर fish दिया रहेगा, fish which is moving forward. This diagram is for the fish which is moving forward. Okay, it is not floating. So
Ma'am, so we have to write what is thrust and all.
if you want to write, you can write. You can do it on your own also. I'm just explaining you. There can be any example. Na? This is fish moving forward in water. Okay, so upthrust is also called as buoyant force. So that is why they have written buoyancy. Upthrust called as okay. So that will be all for today's class. Fine, everyone has written it.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's all for today's class. Next class, just the questions we'll do. That's all. Last class for this chapter, Mandela. So you
One
should
second,
be
ma'am.
knowing how to draw the force diagram and all. Okay. So those who have completed can go. And those who are completing, tell me when to stop sharing.
I'm done.
Then you can go.
Bye.
Bye. Done, Safia?
Yes, ma'am.
Should I stop sharing now?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it is just spelling of buoyancy.
Buoyant, buoyant force. Okay.
B-U-O.
A-N-T.
A-
Buoyant.
Okay, B-U. See, B-U-O.
Y-A-N-T. Buoyant force is also called as upthrust. Okay.
Okay.
ठीक है?
Yes.
चलो, bye then. हाँ?
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.